America is stuck in inflation loop, former Walmart U.S. CEO says. Mass layoffs are plaguing more than just the big tech industry. America is facing a tough situation with the economy. According to former Walmart CEO Bill Simon, the country is stuck in a loop of wage inflation, product inflation, and cost inflation. This cycle is a byproduct of the Federal Reserve's moves to control inflation, but it is also leading to mass layoffs, especially in the tech industry. IBM and SAP have recently announced massive cuts in their workforce. The labor market, although still healthy, is beginning to soften with a slowdown in job growth, adding only 223,000 jobs in December, the smallest gain in 2 years. The Federal Reserve expects unemployment to rise to 4.6% by the end of 2023, up from the current rate of 3.5%. Although layoffs may help to control inflation, they are being counteracted by increased wages. Walmart has recently announced a 17% increase in its starting wage to $14 per hour, and there have been similar increases in other industries such as Delta for pilots and the rail industry. The immigration issue is also having a significant impact on the workforce. The increased demand for goods and services is driving prices up, but there is a shortage of workers to meet that demand, particularly with workers who are in the country legally. We have a lot to cover in this video, but before moving on, we kindly ask you to support our work with a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe. The U.S. economy is facing a difficult situation with the combination of inflation and mass layoffs, particularly in the tech industry. Bill Simon has stated that the cost of food has experienced a significant increase of 23% in the past 2 years. This has resulted in a corresponding rise in wages across various industries, such as Walmart, 17%, Delta Airlines for pilots, 25%, and the rail industry, 25%. These wage increases, despite the recent employment layoffs, work to balance out the rising food costs and maintain financial stability for workers in these industries. A lot is happening in this area, and it is important to keep an eye on these developments. This situation is a result of the Federal Reserve's moves to control inflation, Simon said. To curb inflation, the Fed has implemented interest rate hikes, which are intended to cool down the economy. Unfortunately, this has led to mass layoffs, including cuts from tech giants like IBM and SAP. This creates a vicious cycle where the Fed's moves to control inflation result in mass layoffs, which in turn can hurt the economy. The labor market, while still healthy, has begun to soften, with the economy adding only 223,000 jobs in December, the smallest gain in 2 years. The Federal Reserve projects that unemployment will rise to 4.6% by the end of 2023, up from the current rate of 3.5%. The immigration issue is also having a significant impact on the workforce, where increased demand is driving prices up, but there is a shortage of workers to meet that demand. Consumers could be in a world of hurt if the Biden administration does not take action to control inflation soon, warns former Walmart CEO Bill Simon. Another year of high single-digit or low double-digit inflation could have serious consequences for the entire population. According to the Federal Reserve, an increase in unemployment is expected due to their recent interest rate hike campaign. The central bank's latest projections from December indicate that the unemployment rate will rise to 4.6% by the end of 2023, which is a higher rate compared to the current rate of 3.5%. In a world where job security is becoming increasingly rare, mass layoffs only add to the anxiety and stress of workers. The loss of a steady income can lead to financial insecurity, with bills piling up and the possibility of foreclosure or eviction looming. Mental health is also negatively impacted, as the loss of a job can lead to feelings of worthlessness and hopelessness. The effects of mass layoffs are not limited to the individuals who lost their jobs. The entire community feels the impact, as local businesses suffer from decreased consumer spending. The reduction in the tax base also affects public services, leading to cutbacks and a decrease in the quality of life for all residents. Mass layoffs have far-reaching and devastating consequences that go beyond just the loss of a job. They have a ripple effect throughout the entire community and can leave individuals, families, and entire cities struggling for years to come. A Forbes study suggests that a number of companies recently announced job cuts as part of their cost-saving measures. FedEx is cutting 10% of its officer and director team as part of its efforts to become a more efficient organization. The electric automaker, Rivian, is cutting 6% of its staff after having already laid off 5% of its employees in the recent past. Online payment company PayPal is cutting 7% of its global workforce due to a competitive and challenging economic environment. Publishing giant HarperCollins is cutting 5% of its staff in the US and Canada due to declining sales and economic pressures. Software company HubSpot is cutting 7% of its workforce as part of a restructuring plan. Philips is cutting 3,000 jobs worldwide in 2023 and 6,000 total by 2025 after incurring losses. Toy maker Hasbro is cutting 15% of its global workforce due to a challenging consumer environment. Chemical company Dow is cutting 2,000 positions globally to save $1 billion. IBM is cutting 1.5% of its global workforce, while SAP is cutting 3,000 workers globally due to expected macroeconomic challenges. As the issue of illegal immigration continues to grip the nation, it's becoming increasingly clear that the consequences of this issue are far-reaching and profound. Illegal immigration not only causes an enormous drain on public funds, but it also undermines the quality of life for Americans in countless ways. The sheer number of illegal entrants into the country, many of whom are poor and unskilled, puts a strain on public services such as education, healthcare, and more. For American workers, the impact of illegal immigration is also devastating. As they are forced to compete against job-desperate illegal immigrants, wages and working conditions for legal residents are unfairly depressed. This creates a vicious cycle, as the influx of cheap labor drives down wages, making it increasingly difficult for Americans to make ends meet. Beyond the economic impacts, illegal immigration also has a profound effect on communities. Schools are overcrowded, affordable housing is in short supply, and precious natural resources are strained to the breaking point. It's a problem that affects us all, and it's only going to get worse unless something is done to address it. Another major concern is the security of our nation. As illegal immigration continues to rise, it becomes increasingly difficult to know who is entering our country and what their motives might be. This makes it easier for potential terrorists to hide in the shadows, compromising our national security in the process. Controlling illegal immigration is no small feat. It will require a full range of enforcement measures that go far beyond the border. We must be vigilant in our efforts to keep our country safe and secure, while also protecting the rights and freedoms of all citizens. Only then can we hope to address this complex and pressing issue and ensure a bright future for all. The U.S. economy is facing a tough situation with inflation and mass layoffs, especially in the tech industry, due to the Federal Reserve's moves to control inflation through interest rate hikes. The unemployment rate is expected to rise by 4.6% by the end of 2023, according to the Federal Reserve. Mass layoffs not only affect the individuals who lost their jobs, but also the entire community with decreased consumer spending, reduced tax base, and decreased quality of life. Illegal immigration also hurts the U.S. economy, as it puts a strain on public services, drives down wages for legal residents, and creates a competitive job market. To address these issues, the Biden administration needs to take action to control inflation and address the issue of illegal immigration. Thank you for watching that interesting and educational video. We promise you will always get outstanding information about investment, the economy, and fundamental news that would positively impact your life. Kindly hit the subscribe button to be the first to get notified when we drop a new video.